Captain Ryan Taylor stepped out of the spacecraft onto the soft blue grass of planet Zelvaria. The warm air smelled sweet, like honey mixed with flowers. He was Earth's first official ambassador here. His mission? Peace, trade, and friendship with the Zelvarians. The landing field was full of alien figures, tall, slender beings with glowing eyes and skin that shimmered like metal under the sun. They wore long, colorful robes and stood silently in neat rows. Ryan adjusted his jacket, nervously. Cameras from both sides were recording. He cleared his throat and stepped forward. A horn echoed across the field. From the palace gates, a tall alien female walked slowly toward him. Her robe was silver and covered in strange, swirling patterns. She had no eyebrows, but her smile seemed calm and kind. Captain Ryan Taylor of Earth, a voice translated in his earpiece. "I welcome you," she said. He bowed slightly. "Thank you, Your Highness. On behalf of Earth, I—" Suddenly, she stepped closer. Her eyes locked with his. And then, without warning, she grabbed the edges of her robe and lifted it high. Ryan's mouth dropped open. His face turned red. What the hell was happening? The alien queen stood proudly, her dress lifted high, showing something glowing and shifting beneath. It wasn't her body, not like a human's. It looked more like a pattern of lights dancing like a hologram on her skin. Swirling shapes and symbols flickered there. Ryan stepped back in shock. Is this normal?" Around them, the alien crowd cheered loudly and started clapping. Some even whistled. The human crew behind Ryan stood frozen. One soldier dropped, his translator. The others just stared. "Captain, what's going on?" a voice asked in his earpiece. I think I just got flashed by a queen," he whispered back, his heart racing. The queen gently lowered her robe. Her smile remained peaceful. She turned and walked away, waving toward the palace. Ryan stood stiff as a rock. The alien guards motioned for him to follow. Inside the spacecraft, chaos broke out. Was that an insult? Did we just break a law? Do we need to retreat? No one knew what just happened. In the palace hallway, the queen's assistant approached Ryan. She was another female alien, also in a long robe. "Do not be afraid," she said in smooth English. "Was that supposed to happen?" Ryan asked, still confused. The assistant nodded. "It was a great honor. Queen Seralia gave you the sacred greeting of light." Greeting of what now? When a Zelvarian female lifts her ceremonial robe and shows the inner light, it means she accepts the guest as a trusted visitor. You are now under her protection. "Oh," Ryan blinked. "So, she wasn't trying to seduce me?" The assistant laughed gently. "Not at all. If she wanted that, she would have touched your forehead," Ryan muttered. "Thank God," the assistant added. "You will see more greetings like this." "It is our way," Ryan groaned. "I should have brought sunglasses." Back at Earth's command center, the human diplomats were trying to understand what happened. "It wasn't an attack," one officer said. "No weapons, no threat. But why did she lift her robe like that? It's not appropriate." "That's the point," another expert replied. "Their culture is different. What's embarrassing to us might be respectful to them." "So, flashing light patterns from under a dress is respectful?" "Yes, very respectful." One general leaned forward. "Then Captain Taylor better not screw it up. He just got royal approval." Later that evening, Ryan sat in his guest chamber, still replaying the moment in his head. He had survived alien weapons before. He had been to strange planets. But nothing had prepared him for friendly flashing by a royal alien. He looked out the window at the twin moons of Zelvaria. "Day 1, he muttered, "and I've already seen more alien skin than I ever asked for." But deep down, he knew something bigger was happening. That greeting wasn't just a custom. There was meaning behind those light symbols, something coded. He had noticed shapes repeating, maybe a message? Ryan made a mental note. Ask the science officer about pattern recognition tomorrow. He had a feeling this greeting was just the beginning of something much stranger. It had been only one day since the greeting by Queen Seralia, and Captain Ryan Taylor was still recovering. His mind kept replaying the glowing lights under her dress. The Zelvarians said it was honor, but to Ryan it still felt like stepping into the middle of a strange sci-fi prank show. Now it was Corporal Diaz's turn. She was young, bold, and didn't believe in alien nonsense. "Look," she told the team earlier, "if one more glowing lady flashes me today, I swear I'll flash back." Everyone laughed except Ryan. He had seen those lights up close. They were too perfect, too organized. Something deeper was going on. Ryan stood beside Diaz as they walked through the garden toward the marketplace. This was supposed to be a friendly tour with local officials. Suddenly, an alien woman stepped in front of them. She was tall, graceful, and wore the same long ceremonial robe as the queen. The woman looked at Diaz and smiled gently. Then, she lifted her dress. Glowing lights shone again, this time brighter and more complex. The air around her shimmered as if reacting to the symbols. They flickered like living code. Diaz blinked. She stared for 2 full seconds, and then rolled her eyes. "Oh, come on," she shouted. "I'm not doing this dance." Without warning, she turned her back and kept walking. The alien woman's smile vanished. Her robe dropped. Her hands clenched. Ryan turned in panic. "Wait! Corporal!" But it was too late. A deep metallic hum filled the air. Guards appeared from nowhere, their eyes glowing red. "What did she do?" Diaz asked, confused. "You refused the greeting of light," said a voice behind them. It was a Zelvarian elder, his face suddenly cold. "You have insulted Lady Varel in public. You must face the ritual of apology." "Ritual of what now?" Diaz asked, half laughing, but the guards didn't laugh. They surrounded her. Ryan stepped forward. "She didn't mean to disrespect anyone. She just didn't understand." The elder turned toward Ryan. "You are under the Queen's protection, Captain Taylor, but she is not." Diaz was dragged gently, but firmly, toward a golden archway glowing at the edge of the garden. Ryan followed close, his heart pounding. Inside the ritual chamber, the walls pulsed with light. Alien script floated in the air. Diaz stood on a raised platform. A silver sphere hovered above her head. Lady Varel entered and spoke in her native tongue. The translator in Ryan's ear whispered, "The human rejected my light. If she is worthy, let her light be shown in return." The silver sphere flashed, a projection of Diaz appeared mid-air, glowing. "What is this?" she asked, eyes wide. "She's being scanned," Ryan whispered. "They're reading her bioenergy." The symbols under Lady Varel's dress had matched her DNA. It was a test, a connection attempt, but Diaz didn't match. The room went silent. Then, the sphere changed color, from silver to dark green. Everyone gasped. Ryan had no idea what that meant. An old alien woman stepped forward. Her robe was ancient with golden threads. "She is not rejected," the elder announced. "She is chosen." "What?" Ryan asked. The elder turned toward him. "Only 1 out of 1,000 humans would ever carry a light pattern similar to ours. This woman does. That makes her part of the chosen path." Diaz looked confused. "What does that mean? I didn't even say yes." The elder smiled. "You don't choose the light. The light chooses you." Back at the Earth camp, Ryan paced in front of the holographic table. "What do we know about this chosen path?" he asked. The science officer replied, "We scanned the symbols they use in greetings. They're not just lights, they're genetic maps. The Zelvarians use the greeting to find matches for ancient bloodlines." "So Diaz is part of some alien royal code?" Ryan asked. "Possibly. Maybe even someone meant to lead or bond with them." Ryan exhaled. She was joking about flashing back. Now she's part of an alien legacy. "Sir," the officer added, "the pattern she triggered hasn't appeared in over 900 years. It's not just rare. It might be prophetic." Ryan froze, then whispered, "What if this greeting isn't about politeness? What if it's a selection process?" That night, Diaz sat alone in her alien room. Her walls glowed faintly with green lines. The door opened. Queen Seralia entered, calm and graceful. "I thought you only greet important people," Diaz said. The queen nodded. "Yes, that is why I am here." Diaz sat up straighter. "I didn't mean to insult anyone, I just didn't know." "You know now," Seralia replied, "and the light has chosen you. Tomorrow the others will come. They believe you may be the one to fulfill the prophecy of peace." Diaz blinked. "Me? I don't even sort my socks properly." The queen smiled. "Then you will fit perfectly among us." Outside, the stars burned quietly. But inside the palace, history had just shifted. Dr. Elena Monroe wasn't a soldier, a diplomat, or even part of the main crew. She was just a quiet xenosymbolist, an expert in ancient alien languages, patterns, and forgotten cultures. Most of the team barely noticed her. But today, everything would change because Elena had found something forbidden. Late at night, inside the research tent on the edge of the human base, Elena zoomed in on a still image from Queen Seralia's greeting. She had paused it exactly at the moment. The glowing lights under the queen's dress flared to full brightness. It wasn't random. It wasn't just a greeting. It was a message. Elena's eyes flicked across the screen. "That's not decorative. That's language," she whispered. Using an old decoding program, she started matching the shapes with ancient symbols found in a ruined temple on a different moon decades ago. Her hands shook. The first word translated was bonded. The second, selection. The third, air. Elena froze. Air? She leaned closer. The patterns shown under the queen's dress weren't just sacred. They were signals used in royal mate selection. But there was something even more strange. The final symbol translated to compatible DNA, variant H. For human, she muttered. She ran the translation again. Same result. The sacred greeting wasn't just about respect or trust. It was a scan for compatible hybrid partners. The Zelvarians weren't just greeting humans. They were searching for someone who could create a child with them. Back in the palace, Queen Seralia stood before a council of elders. The one called Diaz responded to the light, the high priestess said. But another, the quiet one, the human who studies symbols, she watches, she decodes. "That is dangerous," one elder said sharply. "Humans must not know the truth yet." "Their minds are not ready," said another. "If they learn what the lights truly seek." Queen Seralia raised a hand. "Let us observe the human scholar. If she understands the symbol of HFY Sci, then we must act." The chamber fell silent. HFY Sci, the Forbidden Union Mark, a symbol last used during the Ancient War, when a human and a Zelvarian created a being of power, one that united planets, and then vanished. Elena left her tent at midnight. She couldn't sleep. The stars were bright above Zelvaria, twin moons glowing soft blue and red. The air smelled like night flowers. She made her way to the queen's greeting site, the garden, where everything started. She stood in the middle, holding a projection of the symbols she decoded. "This can't be right," she whispered. "Are they trying to breed with us? Or is this part of some ancient prophecy?" A quiet voice spoke behind her. "You shouldn't be here, scholar." Elena turned. It was the queen's assistant, Lady Thyra. "I need answers," Elena said, not backing down. "This symbol, HFY Sci, what does it mean?" Thyra's eyes widened. "You know that name?" "I translated it." "You didn't want us to see it, why?" Thyra looked around, then stepped closer. "Because that symbol is not meant to be seen, not by your kind. It is the mark of hybrid destiny." Elena felt her throat tighten. "You mean, like creating a child between human and alien?" Thyra nodded slowly. "It was done once before, long ago. A child was born. Half Zelvarian, half human. He could speak the thoughts of both species. He was meant to bring peace across galaxies." "What happened to him?" Elena asked. He was feared and destroyed. Silence fell. Then, Thyra whispered, "Now." The Queen believes the time has come again. The lights are searching, testing, and one of your people has matched. Elena swallowed hard. Diaz? Thyra hesitated. Perhaps. Or someone else. Before Elena could ask more, Thyra held up a small, glowing crystal. The Council will not allow more questions. If you value your life, keep what you've learned hidden. Then she vanished into the shadows. Back at the base, Elena sat alone in her tent, shaking. The words echoed in her head. Hybrid destiny. Heir. Marked by HFY Sci. She opened the data file again. Her own scanner. Logs blinked. DNA traces from every human team member had been uploaded for medical use. Elena froze. Her own name flashed with a match symbol. Partial match, 89.6%. Hybrid compatible. Her heart pounded. It wasn't Diaz, it was her. Elena Monroe didn't wake up in her tent. She opened her eyes to a soft golden glow above her head and a humming sound, like a living heartbeat in the air. The ground beneath her felt like stone, but it pulsed, faintly warm, like it was breathing. This wasn't the human camp. She sat up slowly, blinking. Her translator earpiece was still in place. Her datapad was gone. Where was she? As her eyes adjusted, she saw walls covered in moving light, symbols crawling slowly like rivers of glowing script. A single doorway opened ahead, carved from white crystal. Beyond it, she could hear voices, strange whispering voices, not Zelvarian, not human. Then a figure entered. Queen Seralia. Elena Monroe, the Queen said softly. You have seen what should not be seen, yet the light has not punished you. It has called to you. Where am I? Elena asked. You are in the Forbidden Zone, the Queen said. A sacred place. Even many Zelvarians are not allowed here. Elena stood up, uneasy. Why me? The Queen looked into her eyes. Because your DNA matches the lost sequence, and because you translated the symbol of HFY Sci. Elena's chest tightened. So it's real? The Queen nodded. This place was built over 1,000 years ago, by the last human who stood where you stand now. What happened to them? She asked. They disappeared, but not before they changed the course of our future. Seralia walked ahead through the crystal hallway and Elena followed. The next chamber was vast, like a cathedral made of living light. In the center was a giant vertical pool of floating liquid. It didn't spill. It just hung in the air, glowing, like silver fog. Inside the pool, images moved. Planets, stars, faces, memories of the past. Seralia spoke. This is the well of joining. It stores the history of every bond between our kind and yours. Very few exist. Most were lost, denied, erased by fear. Elena stepped closer. Inside the pool, she saw two figures, a Zelvarian female and a human male, standing close, then lifting their hands toward one another. Their palms touched, and the lights between them burst into a spiral. A third image appeared, a child, glowing, changing, something more than both. That's the hybrid? Elena whispered. Seralia nodded. The child was the first of HFY Sci, born of peace. But it terrified both sides. No one wanted something so powerful to exist again. Elena looked at the Queen. But you do. I don't just want it, Seralia said, her voice steady. I need it. My planet is dying. The birth rate has dropped. Our lines are fading. The ancient code must be renewed. And only someone like you can awaken it. Elena took a step back. You want me to have a child? The Queen raised a hand calmly. No, not now. Not forced. That would be against our deepest laws. But your body carries the signal. The old line lives in your blood. That is why the light called to you. Elena shook her head. But I'm not special. I'm not brave. I just study symbols. Seralia smiled. And you saw the truth before anyone else. That is bravery. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the chamber. Guards rushed in, speaking in a language the translator didn't catch. One of them handed the queen a small orb. A hologram flickered up. It was the human base, under attack. Not by Zelvarians, but by rebel aliens dressed in black armor, their robes torn, their lights broken. They carried strange weapons and spoke through distortion devices. They have discovered your match, Seralia said darkly. They want to erase the bloodline again. They're attacking to kill me? Elena asked. The queen looked at her with sharp eyes. No, they want to destroy the well of joining, and everything it stands. For Elena's heart pounded. We have to stop them, Seralia nodded. Then come with me. You are no longer just a scholar. You are now part of the ancient code. The two moved quickly through glowing tunnels. As they ran, Elena noticed more murals. Images of human Zelvarian hybrids, locked in battles, leading people, being crowned. It wasn't just about peace. It was about destiny. At the final gate, Seralia touched a panel. This chamber holds the lightstone, the final piece that completes the hybrid mark. If they get it, the symbol will die forever. Elena looked at her hands. What do I do? The queen stepped aside. Place your hand on the stone. If your blood truly carries the light, it will activate. Elena hesitated, then pressed her hand onto the glowing crystal. Silence. Then, light exploded. Symbols flew into the air. Ancient. Codes burned into the walls. The entire chamber sang, a humming wave of sound like 1,000 voices from history awakening. It is true, Seralia whispered. You are HFY Sci reborn. They were known as the Shadowed Veil, an ancient group of Zelvarian nobles who believed their customs had gone too far. To them, the sacred greeting of light was no longer a gesture of honor. It had become a weapon, a tool to lure humans into dangerous bonds that would blur bloodlines and destroy pure Zelvarian heritage. And now, a human scholar had awakened the Lightstone. The old prophecy, the HFY Sci, was alive again. They would not let it continue. In the depths of the palace, behind thick walls no human had seen, a secret meeting was underway. 10 robed figures sat around a table shaped like a broken star. The queen has made her choice, one of them hissed. She wants to bind the future of Zelvaria to Earth. We cannot allow it. The human woman, Elena Monroe, said another. She carries the mark. She must be removed before the ceremony of confirmation. But not by blade, a third warned. If we spill blood openly, the queen will turn our people against us. Then we'll use the custom itself, whispered the leader. We will greet her with death. Meanwhile, Elena sat in the royal garden, her mind spinning. The activation of the Lightstone had changed everything. Now everywhere she walked, Zelvarian eyes followed. Some bowed, some turned away, some whispered in fear. She felt like she was wearing a crown of fire. You did well, Queen Seralia told her. But this is only the beginning. Tomorrow the Council of Joining will gather. If they accept the light in you, a union ceremony will be planned. Union ceremony? Elena asked. Not a wedding, the queen explained. A linking of paths. 2 beings touched by the sacred light must stand together before the people. It is the final step before the prophecy is accepted. Elena sighed. And if they reject it? Seralia looked away. Then the old fear will return. The veil of darkness will fall again. That night, Elena received an invitation. It wasn't from the queen. A Zelvarian woman in a deep crimson robe arrived at her door. Her name was Lady Zekra. She spoke softly and politely. You're invited to the Night of Honor, Zekra said. It is tradition. Before the union ceremony, you must receive greetings from all noble houses, one by one. Greetings, Elena muttered. More light shows under dresses? Zekra smiled thinly. Yes, but also a test. Elena followed her through quiet halls until they entered a large round chamber lit by hundreds of floating candles. 10 noblewomen stood in a circle, their faces hidden by shimmering veils. Each one stepped forward in turn. Each lifted her ceremonial robe. Each revealed glowing symbols, some warm, some cold. Alina remained calm until the ninth woman stepped forward. Her glow was different, darker, sharper. The symbols didn't flow like light. They stabbed like knives, and they were not in the sacred language. Suddenly, Alina's chest began to tighten. Her breath caught. She staggered backward. "Something's wrong," she gasped. The air felt heavy. Her heartbeat pounded, her vision blurred. A hand reached for her, but not to help. It tried to hold her in place. "Lady Zekra," her voice changed. "The light chose wrong. You don't belong here." Alina fell to her knees. The 10th woman stepped forward, lifting her robe. But instead of symbols, there was a blade hidden in the folds. Alina's eyes widened. "Wait!" A flash of movement. Steel met energy. A loud crack filled the chamber as Soralia's guard burst in through the wall. Blue shields shimmered as energy swords clashed with the blade. Within seconds, the noble assassins were disarmed, their veils torn away. Lady Zekra hissed, "She will bring ruin!" "Her child will not be one of us." Soralia stormed in, eyes blazing. "You used the greeting to attack?" Zekra spat. "You used it to bring a human into our bloodlines." Soralia raised her hand. "You are no longer noble. You are exiled." The queen looked at Alina, who was still gasping. "Take her to the healer's circle," Soralia ordered. Now, Alina woke hours later in a crystal chamber. Soft lights floated above her. A gentle hum calmed her body. Soralia sat beside her. "They tried to kill me." "Using the sacred greeting?" Alina whispered. "Yes," Soralia said. "They corrupted it, turned our oldest honor into a weapon. They fear what you represent." Alina sat up slowly. "What do I represent?" The queen's voice was calm, but strong. A future they can't control. Alina Monroe stood at the edge of the ceremony platform, dressed not in human clothes, but in a flowing Zelvarian robe of silver and deep violet. It shimmered under the twin suns, stitched with glowing patterns that changed shape as she breathed. She wasn't a visitor anymore. Today, she was the focus of an ancient choice. Thousands of Zelvarians filled the crystal arena surrounding her. They watched silently, not blinking, not moving. The air itself felt heavy with meaning. Behind Alina stood Queen Soralia, calm, proud. But even she knew, this wasn't her decision to make. It was Elina's. "Let all houses bear witness," the high speaker called, his voice echoing through the crowd. "The light has returned after 1,000 years. The HFY Sci stands before us once more." A glowing orb rose into the air, rotating above the platform. It displayed Alina's DNA strands next to the ancient symbols of the Zelvarian royal bloodline. A perfect match. Gasps filled the air. "This human carries the mark," the speaker continued. "She has awakened the sacred stone. She has survived the greeting of betrayal. Now, she must decide." Soralia stepped forward and placed her palm on the orb. "I offer alliance," she said firmly. "Not of war, not of empire, but of life. Let our kinds walk forward, joined in trust through this union." Then all eyes turned to Alina. Her heart beat like a drum. She was just a language expert, a quiet scholar. She hadn't trained for war or diplomacy. She'd never even been on a date that lasted longer than one cup of coffee. And now, she had to choose the future of two species. Alina stepped toward the orb. The wind brushed her robe as she looked out at the ocean of faces. "I didn't come here to change history," she began, her voice steady. "I came to learn, to understand, to translate alien symbols." She looked at Soralia. "But now I see. I was one of the symbols." Gasps spread again. "Your sacred greetings are not just rituals. They are tests, messages, and choices. Today, I have one too." She paused, drawing a deep breath. "I choose to accept the bond." The orb exploded in light. The platform lifted into the air, spinning slowly above the arena. A ring of glowing patterns danced around Elena and Seralia, binding them in spirals of white fire. The crowd bowed as one. The ceremony was complete. But far below the arena, hidden in a dark cave beneath the palace roots, the true enemy watched. Male Zelvarian in black armor stood before a giant machine, half biological, half stone. Its mouth pulsed like a heart. He was not part of the shadowed veil. He was something far older. "The union has begun," a whispering voice said from the shadows. He nodded. "Then we must activate the failsafe." The creature behind him stirred. Glowing blue eyes opened. "If a child is born from this union," the whisper said, "our time ends. That hybrid will unlock all gates, military, mental, and spiritual. Then we'll stop it before it begins." He pressed a hand against the living machine. A countdown started. That evening, back in the royal garden, Elena sat quietly under a tree with Seralia. The celebration was over. The lights, the cheers, the golden songs, they had passed. Now came silence and worry. "You did well," Seralia said. "The people believe again." Elena nodded. "But someone tried to stop this, and maybe they still will." The queen's face turned serious. "There are still those who fear what we can become, who believe a child of two worlds will bring chaos instead of unity." "And what do you believe?" Elena asked. Seralia looked at the stars. "I believe that fear has ruled for too long. It's time for something new." She gently took Elena's hand and placed a small glowing orb in her palm. "This is a seed crystal," Seralia whispered. "If you ever feel you're in danger, crush it. It will call me." Elena closed her fingers around it. "Thank you." But, as she looked at the stars, she felt something deep in her chest. A strange heat, a quiet energy. Was it the hybrid light? Or something awakening? Elena didn't sleep that night. The garden outside her royal chamber was quiet, but her body wasn't. Something pulsed under her skin, soft, rhythmic, not painful, but alive. Every breath felt different. Every heartbeat echoed louder, as if something inside her was growing, not just physically, but energetically. Was this the Lightstone's doing? Was it the start of the hybrid bond? She didn't know, but something was coming, and it wasn't peace. Beneath the capital, in a hidden underground chamber, the ancient failsafe had awakened. Tiur, Rebel Zelvarian, masked and cloaked, stood before the biomachine that had not moved in 900 years. Now it pulsed, cracked, and opened. Inside it was a creature, not a monster, not a weapon, a clone. One grown from the ancient hybrid DNA, the same bloodline Elena now carried. But this clone was broken. Its purpose: destroy anything that dared to become a true Sci. The rebel leader gave the command: release it. Let the ancient error erase the new mistake. Elena and Queen Seralia were in the middle of a final diplomatic gathering when the alarms rang. Boom, boom, boom. The walls trembled. Screams echoed from outside. "What's happening?" Elena stood quickly. A guard rushed in. "An ancient bioconstruct is attacking the outer districts. It's not from our army. It's not from this era." Seralia's face changed. "The failsafe." Elena blinked. "Failsafe? You knew?" "I feared it," the queen said. "A secret created long ago in case the Sci prophecy ever came true again. Some wanted the future, others feared it. But what does it want now?" Seralia turned to her. "You." The monster reached the palace walls in minutes. It looked like a hybrid, but corrupted. Its body was half metal, half light. Its eyes burned white, but not with life. It was made of pieces, stitched by fear. Guards opened fire, blasters and shields, lit up the sky. But the creature moved through it all unstoppable. Then it spoke. Its voice was Elena's, but twisted. "You are not worthy. I am the true union. I am the original. You must be removed." Elena stared from the tower. It had her voice, her face, but it was empty inside. Saralia grabbed her arm. "You must leave. We can evacuate you through the crystal tunnels." Elena shook her head. "No." She turned to the Queen. "If I run now, everything we built, everything they believed in, will die." Saralia's eyes softened. "Then what will you do?" Elena held up the seed crystal the Queen had given her. "I won't run. I'll finish what your ancestors began." She crushed it in her palm. Light exploded around her. The palace rooftop opened, revealing a smooth crystal platform. The crowd below had gathered in fear, chaos spreading. But when Elena stepped onto the glowing disc, the crowd froze. The creature stopped too. "I don't want to fight you," Elena said to the clone, her voice projected by the platform. "You are the mistake," it growled. "I was the plan." "No," she said calmly. "You were the fear of the past. I am the hope of the future." She held her hands forward. Symbols, sacred symbols, appeared in the air between them. The patterns once hidden under robes. Now, alive in the open sky, the creature screamed, but it wasn't pain, it was confusion. Her symbols were pure, clean, right. For the first time in its existence, the corrupted hybrid hesitated. "You can choose," Elena whispered. "You don't have to follow old commands." The clone stepped forward, then it knelt and collapsed into light. Later, as the dust settled, Saralia stood before the people. "The ancient test is complete," she said. "The light chose well. The greeting has returned to its true purpose, not fear, but trust." Elena stood beside her, not as a visitor, not as a scholar, but as HFY Sci, a bridge between two species, a new beginning. Epilogue. 1 year later, the first human Zelvarian Academy opened on Earth. Children of both races laughed together, studying science, history, and sacred customs. In a quiet room, Elena watched a class through a glass window. One little girl had silver eyes and curly brown hair, her child, the first true heir of light.